Hey guys, Drifter here. You don't need me to tell you that Marvel Rivals is hot right now. It has almost 400,000 daily players on Steam, with 200 to 300k concurrent at any given moment, and probably double that player count on console. Marvel Rivals is actually beating peak Black Ops 6 numbers at launch, and the player base is actually comparable to the original Overwatch launch, which is one of the biggest and most hyped game launches of all time. Marvel Rivals has been getting almost all of my game time over the last 3 weeks. I was originally intending to do a review early and get the content out there and convince you all to play, but I caught RSV instead, and now that my voice is fully back, I can finally do the review, and it might be a good thing because I don't think I have to spend any time trying to convince you that the game is good. Instead, I just get to talk about why it's so good. Today's review format is going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. We do have some bad, and we do have a fair bit of ugly on this game, but before we get going, I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Logitech G. All of the gameplay that you're going to see today was recorded on my Logitech Superlight mouse, which is my absolute favorite mouse in the world because it weighs almost nothing, helps me aim really well, and without any further ado, let's jump into the review. One of the good things right off the rip is that Marvel Rivals is free to play and has no RNG loot boxes. It's just a skins-driven game, and you can even earn a small amount of the free currency that you would need to buy the skins. The developers seem very focused on building a large player base instead of just instantly monetizing that player base like every other game. So right now, everything is extremely consumer friendly and extremely affordable if you want to customize or just play for free, which is what I did for this video. Marvel Rivals is extremely well optimized for both PC and console. It runs smoothly on every single system, and I've never seen any console performance issues. The only systems I've seen with performance issues are ones running very old GPUs like a 980 Ti or maybe even something older. What this means is that basically anybody can download Marvel Rivals and play for free on almost any system. The graphics are very rudimentary, but the aesthetics do some heavy lifting. Like the original Overwatch, the game with great aesthetics, and especially aesthetics that save your system processing bandwidth on the graphics and even telegraph game design, that's probably my absolute favorite style of visual game design, and Marvel Rivals does all of that. Instead of trying to be a photorealistic game, it focuses on functionality, practicality, simplicity of graphics, and very importantly, it dedicates a fair bit of its aesthetics and overlays and sort of HUD cues and stuff to gameplay telegraphing. You can hear an ultimate going off and know who's doing it. You can see the streak of somebody shooting off an ultimate in a distance and know exactly what it is. All the poof, all the smoke, all the shields, all the little things all kind of come together to inform you about the game that you're playing, which I think is fantastic. And it's fantastic they focused on that instead of just grinding out more realistic faces or something. Marvel Rivals is a cel-shaded comic book game. It's designed to look like a page right out of Marvel Comics, and I think it achieves that goal very well. So I was very happy with the overall graphical performance. It was very well optimized. The aesthetics are clean, it's crisp, it's simple. It mostly exists to complement the gameplay, which I just absolutely love. And let's talk about the gameplay a little bit. The gameplay is extremely similar to the original Overwatch. And by similar, I mean it's copied almost exactly from Overwatch. It's like when you let your friend copy your homework in school, but ask them to change it up a little bit so you don't get caught. The most immediately noticeable change is that in Marvel Rivals, you can destroy the environment. What this means for your gameplay is that instead of having to push through a singular choke point where you have to squeeze all your tanks and healers through this death wall, you can instead tear down a wall and make your own secondary path, or tear something down and make cover, or if you're trying to kill somebody, you can blow right through the wall and get them, which is very fun. During alpha, I legitimately thought that this was going to be just a gimmick, but I now see that it has some real gameplay validity, and I think it makes sense. When I watch Overwatch gameplay now, I'm like, why don't they just blow up that wall? The game is third person instead of first person, so you can see your character and you can see your character in the skins that you've purchased and customized. And I think the decision to do this third person was twofold. Firstly, I think it was very important for the developers and future monetization of the game that people can see the skins that they're playing with instead of just on the guns in front of their hands. And it's also probably because third-person games like Fortnite are extremely popular with kids, which this game is designed to appeal to, and we'll be talking about that a little bit in the bad section. Being third-person doesn't mean it affects the gameplay at all, though. It's a third-person game with all the smoothness and fluidity of a first-person shooter, Like Overwatch, Marvel Rivals is a 6v6 hero shooter. You play as either a hero or a villain from the Marvel Universe. Each character has their own unique set of moves and passives, and they have team-ups now, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Some are healers, some are tanks. Most of them are DPS. I think almost 2/3 of the roster are DPS, or 3/5 or something like that. And you play on a series of Overwatch-inspired maps where you have objectives such as capturing points or escorting a payload. The points and the payloads are all Marvel-themed, like the two payloads. We have the Golden Rams from Thor. We have the Venom symbiote you have to escort. It's, again, very reminiscent of Overwatch. So is the overall technical mechanical aspects of the gameplay. The gameplay is extremely fast-paced. It is extremely twitchy. This is a shooter with a very high skill ceiling. This is a game that allows you to get very, very good and rewards very good players. It's also a 3D movement shooter, with a lot of the characters having advanced movements such as flying, wall running, teleporting, dashing, and all sorts of little wacky things, going invisible and stuff like that. So it's a game that can be mechanically very intense to play, but rewards good players, which I like. And they added team-ups, which is characters like if you play as Venom and Spider-Man, they team up and unlock new abilities. If you play as Adam Warlock and Star-Lord from the Guardians of the Galaxy, well, then you get an extra respawn. If you play with like Luna Snow and Jeff the Land Shark, Luna Snow feeds him cold fish, which deal more damage for whatever reason. So teaming up with a certain aspect, or mostly of a certain genre of Marvel films, actually unlocks extra abilities, which I think is kind of a cool idea. One of the major improvements over Overwatch is that each character is given a difficulty rating from 1 to 5 stars, yet all of the characters, regardless of their rating, can meaningfully contribute to a team. The 1-star characters are the easiest to play, and the 5-star characters tend to be at least Genji level difficult. And as far as I can tell, the difficulty rating is primarily based on their raw mechanical difficulty, like how hard it is to work the mouse and keyboard to do all of that. And this is extremely important because as a guy with somewhat paralyzed hands, I can't handle the extremely twitchy characters. I don't feel like I can contribute to a team very well. However, I can handle the lower difficulty characters quite well. So instead of having to rely on fast flicks, advanced movement, rapid 360s and stuff like that, I can instead rely on good positioning and game sense. And the low difficulty characters aren't exactly bad either. They absolutely do contribute to a team. The low difficulty characters get plenty of play in high elo and professional play as well. So it's not like you're missing out if you choose a 1-star character instead of a 5. Your power level isn't capped, it's just the difficulty rating. And I think this is wonderful to have for disabled gamers, children, new gamers, gamer dads that maybe don't have that much time to dedicate to something like this. It just allows people of all skill levels and all play types to be able to play, to be able to contribute, and to be able to choose a style that suits them. Some people might prefer the more passive healers. Some people might prefer a super fast twitchy DPS like Psylocke or Star-Lord. But that's your choice, and you can play and contribute however you want. The opposite of that is going on, but in a good way, in that a lot of characters have overloaded kits. Most hero shooters are hyper-focused on balance, specifically competitive balance. Developers wouldn't let you have many insta-kill moves, too much agility, too much resets, something that's a little bit too lethal, a kit that's too complicated. But Marvel Rivals is a hero shooter with an emphasis on the hero part. You are literally playing as a Marvel hero or villain, and the developers decided to fulfill that power fantasy regardless of balance. So for some examples that we're going to compare to from Overwatch, Pharah is a character that flies around and shoots missiles, but she has a boost meter that allows her to only hover for a certain period of time, so you have to manage and reset that. Iron Man is a character that flies around and shoots missiles, but he's Iron Man. He can just fly forever. You just have infinite flight. Go have fun. In Overwatch, Lucio can wall run for a limited amount of time. Well, Spider-Man can just walk on any surface in the game and sit on the ceiling and just hang out on the walls all day. Jeff the Land Shark doesn't really deal a lot of damage, but has a brutal ultimate. Or the best example of this, let's take a look at Loki. Loki has an extremely complicated kit. Loki's primary fire either heals or deals damage depending on what target it hits. He has an AoE heal that heals himself and teammates. He can go invisible. He can also throw down clones of himself, and then those clones will shoot at and heal or damage whatever you're shooting at. And the clones can also cast your AoE heal, and you can teleport by swapping locations with the clones. Beyond that, his ultimate allows him to shapeshift and steal enemy players' ultimates, And then, after all of that complicated stuff going on, Loki has a backstab passive where he deals extra damage for meleeing people in the back, because that's his character from the movies. In any other game, Loki would be considered overloaded, broken, or badly in need of a nerf, but Marvel Rivals has a number of characters like this, and in this game it's considered good character design because it lives up to the fantasy of the hero. And I think that because of this design philosophy, Marvel Rivals has a lot of really complicated but also really fun heroes. Even some of the one-star characters have a surprising amount of depth and lethality, and I, for one, respect this design decision because it allows people to get good or not. If you don't get good, that's kind of a you problem. The final good thing I'll talk about is that the game replayability is quite high. The emphasis on this game is not grinding to unlock things, but rather to get better at the game. The gameplay itself drives the grind. It's very ranked focused, and I can appreciate that. So that's what I prefer to do instead of grinding gun attachments. And I also like that it brings some love to less well-known characters. Luna Snow, now super popular character. Jeff the Landshark is popping off. Magic. All of these people were basically completely unknown compared to like Spider-Man and Thor and stuff like that. But we're getting some love from characters that haven't really been given their time to shine yet. And it's working so well, so I love to see it. Now we're moving into the bad section. This is where the criticisms are going to start. Marvel Rivals has most of the same problems as the original Overwatch. For example, there's no role queue, so there is an awkward moment and argument about who's going to be playing what role before a match. And that's assuming that you play ranked, because if you're playing quick play, then anything goes. Nobody cares. Anything can happen in quick play. In quick play, you're not guaranteed to have tanks or healers. And if you're playing ranked, there's always that one guy on the team that can't keep up, and we're going to talk about why in a little bit. But there are no shortage of people that will bog you down, no shortage of people being toxic, and also the infinite contesting style of gameplay, where you can reset that and contest and hold just so long as one person is alive on the point, is very much so back, and that drives some gamers bananas. Some people do not agree with that. The other bad thing about Marvel Rivals is that most of the characters are DPS, leaving less options for tanks and for healers, and I think this is because Marvel heroes, they're heroes, they're going to be disproportionately damage dealers than they are anything else. The team did actually do a great job at making healers fun. I like playing a number of the healers. I like Luna Snow, I like Jeff the Landshark. I actually like playing Loki as well, but there just aren't enough of them. There's only a handful of healers to choose from, and a few of them are much more impactful than others. I think the tanks are extremely unfun. This is one of my biggest criticisms. Tanking is the one role that I don't play in this game. You can see some terrible gameplay of some tanks here. This might be a lack of experience. It's almost certainly due to a lack of healing in quick play or team coordination or whatever, but I really don't like tanking. I feel like I just go and die for no reason. I can't contribute to anything. And I don't like that the tanks don't deal as much damage as they did in Overwatch. I have a hard time killing people with tanks, and I have a hard time punishing people that get out of position compared to Overwatch. So didn't have a very good time with the tanks. Marvel Rivals has somewhat spotty balance, and by that I'm a little bit more concerned with characters that are too weak than too strong. I'm okay with some characters being very strong but requiring a high degree of skill to play, like Spider-Man. But there's a few like Black Widow that, despite me being able to see their intentions behind the kit, just can't quite keep up. And a handful of characters clearly get left behind and are badly in need of a buff. So the character balance isn't perfect. I'm sure that'll change in the next season. Some of them are badly in need of a buff or nerf. Jeff is very annoying. His ultimate can be very annoying. We might need to rework that into something that irritates people a bit less. And this is a general Overwatch problem, but it's magnified here in Marvel Rivals in that health and healing is really high. It's probably higher than in the original Overwatch, which makes it much harder to get picks. It's harder to punish people that are out of position. And if you're playing a low damage character like Star-Lord or the Punisher or something like that, maybe even the Hulk with your fist, each individual fist doesn't deal a lot of damage. It makes it very easy for people to slink away and go back and get healing despite you very consistently having good aim and chipping away at them. It makes it kind of hard to burst people down, which is not always fun. And now finally, at the end of the video, let's talk about the ugly. And the ugliest thing that I have to talk about first is that kids play this game. You are often playing with literal children who cannot read and have never played Overwatch and do not know what a hero shooter is. They have no idea what's going on and don't care that you're in need of healing or that you're trying to win or lose a ranked game. They just want to play Spider-Man because Spider-Man is their favorite cartoon. And I think that's okay. I think it's totally okay for kids to play this game. I think it's okay for kids to either get good or not, or play quick play, or do whatever it is that they feel like they're doing. But for you, that means that the bottom of the skill gap and the worst person on your team can be exceptionally bad. And that also means that this is an extra bad place to be toxic, because if you're going to get mad and take out your frustrations on that person, odds are that you could literally be cursing at a toddler, which most of us probably wouldn't feel good about. Just get a load of this example from one of my games.
Try healing. Try healing. As a healer, I think you're supposed to heal. Just try it once, maybe. How refreshing. You're not there for damage. Retard. Front line right now. You need to back up a little bit. Yep, back up. You got guys behind you to heal, retard.
Can you not? My 6-year-old niece is watching.
Oh, I'm so sorry, man. You know, if people just use their brain, I wouldn't have to do that. People don't use their brain. By the way, kids, cussing is bad.
So yeah, kids, cursing is bad. Adults, cursing's fun, probably still bad. Let's do it a little bit less in Marvel Rivals because we're cursing at children. Number two ugly thing that I've got today is that it has no ranked crossplay. And this is in the ugly section, even though I have mixed feelings about it. Console and PC can only crossplay for quick play. Marvel Rivals does not currently allow for ranked play for mixed systems. They believe that controller and mouse are fundamentally different and can't be competitively balanced for each other. They also seem to kind of believe in quarantining cheaters primarily to PC. These are attitudes that I can understand. I absolutely get where they're coming from. I think a lot of gamers would probably agree with these decisions, but I think it's ugly because this means I can't play with any of my friends that are on console, and that's kind of a big L for a free-to-play game. Games like Marvel Rivals become successful when you can easily team up with your buddies on whatever system and just jump into whatever game mode you want to play. But taking out ranked play removes a huge part of the game because not really quick play isn't as fun because people aren't as coordinated. The game is more fun when people are trying, right? And this isn't mixed input either. If you're playing controller on PC, then you're just playing controller against other mouse and keyboard guys, which can also not be very fun. I hope that they fix this. I hope they change things up. Even if they agree that crossplay can't be competitively balanced, I think the easiest way to do it would be to have a separate rank. You have a rank for PC, you have a rank for console, and you have a rank for crossplay, and I think that's totally fine if we want to do it that way. So at the end of this video, what's my overall opinion on Marvel Rivals? Well, I really like this game. I like this game more than I've liked any game since the finals, and you may have noticed that I'm not playing Call of Duty right now. That's because I like Marvel Rivals better, at least for the moment. This is exactly the type of game that appeals to me. You may remember how badly addicted I was to the original Overwatch. We used to stream that like 4 hours a day, every day. This is just a different flavor of that same rush, that same addiction. I wish that I could sit down and play Marvel Rivals all day, every day, while still maintaining a YouTube channel. I would make this my main game if I could. I absolutely love getting high on Delta 8 and playing as Star-Lord. It makes me feel like I'm flying, and it's greatly irritating that I play better inebriated than I do sober, but that's still a great experience. It's one that I would like more of, and God willing, I'm going to try to find a way to make more videos about Marvel Rivals, because that's what I'm playing right now. Alright guys, that's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.